What's up, YouTube? What's up, Extreme Gains family? I'm Chuck, and this is Extreme Gains. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is or ever will be financial advice. Please do not take it as such. As such. Today is Wednesday, January 19th, 2022, and this is the AMC Algo Exposed daily update video. On your left is the daily intraday movement on the 5-minute chart. Some volatility, like I said in yesterday's update video. I would expect if this bounce were to be a continuation to the upside, a potential initial rejection off of the confluence of support, which then would become resistance, which it did today. And there you go. Just from a pure technical analysis standpoint, that was something I was looking for and mentioned that in yesterday's video. Keep eyes out for that, and that's what we got intraday. As you can see, we're on this almost same as like a week, 2 weeks ago when we had volatility intraday, but we had a midline open and close. Same thing's happening right now after the push down and flush down there on Tuesday, yesterday. So that's our intraday movement. We finished down minus 2.76 today, trading at $18, holy hell, and 32 cents, trading at $18.32. Sorry, guys and gals. We're currently up 0.55% in after hours, trading at $18.42. Okay, let's dig in here to the macro. So I'm going to go over, I have two bullish macro fractals that I've been using to compare, right? Macro comparative fractals. And I have one bullish macro comparative fractal. Now, the one comparative fractal that I'm using has provided both one bullish and one bearish of the macro fractals. On your left is the 7-year macro descending wedge that I've been using. Obviously, it indicates that we're down here, right? And this is the one that we're in now currently from the May-June run-up until now. It indicates that we're potentially in this one, which is why I've been using this fractal. So like I said, there's a bullish and a bearish that have come from that and from this fractal. And I'm going to show you both of them. Let's go over the bullish one first. That's the bearish one. There's my bullish one. Okay, now, when taking these into consideration, I want to point out a couple things that I looked at while figuring out to use both of them, okay? First off, I want you to pay attention to the length from the box top to the bottom portion of the first double of the double-double, okay? Versus where we're at now and the length of the box top down to when using this same, and I'm going to use the same fractal in two different ways. This is the bullish scenario when using this here, like this. I want you to recognize and notice the length. And I can stretch it, but you see what happens when I stretch it, right? So if I'm trying to keep the scalability the same, you can see the difference there, okay? Nonetheless, it is kind of replicating these movements on the interior of this descending wedge to some extent. Now, like I pointed out in yesterday's video, this one here is borderline being invalidated for me due to the breakdown of the confluence when lining the bottom of this comparative fractal up with the current fractal that we're in, lining the bottoms up. It shows this breakdown here. It doesn't show it on the comparative fractal. I said in yesterday's video, for this one not to be invalidated, for me to take it off my radar right now, I would want to see an almost immediate move to the upside, either today or tomorrow. It didn't happen today. We did get the move, but we got rejected, like I said, from the technical standpoint. So I'm going to give it tomorrow. I'm real close to invalidating this due to the fact that the bottoms of these are essentially at the same level. They are tilted a tiny little bit, but they're essentially at the same level, not this drastic. So if we don't get a strong bullish move to the upside and regain this level of support at the confluence, after tomorrow, I'm probably going to invalidate this fractal. Now, with that being said, let's use the same fractal, but let's take the whole thing like I did in the bearish outlook video, and let's use it. And again, let me place it first. But again, what I want you to do is I want you to take into consideration the length of the move from the top of the box top down to the W, and the scalability comparison of both of these. If this were to move down here like this, big difference, right? In my opinion, it was a big difference, which is why I brought this up and wanted to take a look at it, right? For obvious reasons. Now you see the length replicating itself. You see the giant checkup that's midline here of the descent part of this show itself. And in the same way, midline, right? It makes sense. So again, not that I have conviction or that this is my whatever, yada, 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 all that shit. But it's worth looking at, right? I think we're past that now. You all know that that's how I do things here. We prepare for everything, so we're surprised by absolutely nothing. Okay? Let's zoom in, take a look at this. And if this was it, what it looks like from where we're at now. You can see the movements. Again, very similar. Let's zoom in here. I said this yesterday, I'll say it again. Again, we're looking at, daily candles here. And again, it's not candle for candle, but generalized perspective. This one here as well. And I said this today, depending on the location of this thing, right? Do I have this right? Or does this indicate, I can pull it down here and it still would look the same from, being a comparative, or trying to compare them, you know what I mean? To show it where it comes down and it does hit this gap fill. And I said that in yesterday's video. I was very adamant about that. Depending on the positioning of this is going to give us more, or I guess it's going to give us, I'm just tripping over myself, I'm sorry. It's going to give us a different outlook from an initial short term, right? A very short term movement versus the generalized perspective of the upcoming macro movement, right? So what I mean by that is the upcoming macro movement, no matter where I position this, whether I position it here and it's still relevant in either way, right? The macro generalized perspective movement is to the upside, or whether I position it here to indicate that we're coming down to the gap fill and then going to bounce, it's still, this has a short-term move down, but the still generalized perspective of the macro movement is still an upside move, okay? Again, I've talked about these gap fills. I've over and over and over that these things, when you get close to these things, they act like magnets. They pull this price action to it, right? Whether the algo, the volume, the whatever, these gap fills act like magnets. They just do, okay? So as far as me positioning this comparative fractal a hair off in the big picture of things, I know for a lot of you, because of your nerves and everything, that means a whole lot to you, whether or not it goes to the gap fill or not. To me, it really doesn't. I've stated a long time ago, I'm not really concerned so much with the intraday movements, especially when looking at an overhead macro view, trying to not only match fractals and the algo to itself, right, but looking at projecting macro movements is more or less where my mind's always at, more so than looking at these potential intraday, right? Especially when you're this close to it being one or the other, and you're being either at the bottom of a full-on movement looking for a reversal, or at the top of a full-on movement looking for a reversal to the downside. This little bit is from a macro perspective is not a big concern of mine. However, I do know that that's what a lot of you really want to know. Like, are we going to go to the gap fill? Are we not? You know, things like that. What I use is the box top for that information. I go into intraday and use box top for that. I have no conviction one way or the other on any of these fractals. I do have conviction on the fact of my entire theory and you can go back to other videos, and I've said that a million times in today's video. I think we might have had a lot of new people in today because I said it a lot more today than I have in the last week or two. Go check out all the videos I've been putting out since I started on this algorithm, on identifying fractals, on the snake algo, on the micro to macro, on the it's all one big theory with a bunch of moving parts, okay? I use box top for intraday movements and intraday projections and micro movements and micro projections. But from a macro perspective, with a generalized perception of this, right, the next move of this would be an upside move to regain that level of support from the megaphone and to where it's sitting right now and to regain that. So whether it pushes itself down to the gap fill, which is a very, very, very high probability being where we're at right now, market conditions, what I know this algo is doing, when I look at what its comparative fractal did and I look at how close we are to it, I've explained to you they act like magnets. That is on my radar, still is, still not out of the woods yet for that, in my opinion. That's a very, very good possibility. So is just as much as the macro descending wedge support retest. If we come the whole way down and retest, which we're super close to doing so, confirming itself and bouncing up out of here strong. That could happen as well. Just probability wise, just as much. So that's what I'm looking at for this bearish. Obviously, if this thing were to keep falling, we're going to track it daily. This one's still on the table 100%. There's nothing invalidating about this whatsoever at this point. So this one's going to stay on the table until otherwise. Then the last bullish, I'm going to have to move all this shit back up. The last bullish macro comparative fractal that I've been using comes from, once again, another moving part of my algo theory that I had done a video on that I named Big Brother, Little Brother. Again, for context, just for the sake of me and everybody that's heard this a million times, please go look at the videos that I've put out. Check those things out. It will do you wonders. If you're going to continue to follow my content and be here for this, it will do you wonders. I promise you. Okay. I call Big Brother, Little Brother. As you all know, it comes from this fractal here, right? We have Big Brother movement up here, Little Brother movement down here, Big Brother, Little Brother, and then they alternate, right? And there's these time blocks that I explained and yada yada. It's all with the snake theory. Okay. So then we do it again here. Big Brother, Little Brother. And in I think it was 2 videos ago, I transposed this onto this to show you what I mean when I say that. And you can do it with that one and this one. You can do it with this one and that one. You can do it with this one and that one. You'll see what I mean. However, what I've done is I've transposed this one and I've been using it because it is the, oh, I didn't even grab it. This is the current location of where I believe we would potentially be in this as far as the interior movements, right? Again, this is all stemming from this, right? As far as a macro comparative fractal in a compressed version of it. And the snake algo is the top, the king of my thesis and my theory, right? With a bunch of these moving parts that all tie this together. I'm still working on it, I promise y'all. I told y'all, I gave you all a little insight today that we're in the live stream and you happen to see some of my private Discord members commenting. A bunch of us were excited because we think we made a little bit of headway today. Actually, a lot of headway. We haven't confirmed or denied that yet, but you saw that, so you know that work is being done behind the scenes on that fully and wholeheartedly. So anyways, this is that fractal, okay, overlaid on here. Let's zoom in and take a look. As you can see, this one really, 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 really looks similar to this one that we're in. It does have the descending characteristics to it with its bottoms. It does indicate, and it's again not candle for candle, but it did and does indicate a breakdown on this one right where we're at. However, it did indicate this breakdown and potential move towards the gap fill on this first one, and it didn't. It gave us this, and let me put that out just a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. Oh, there it is. There. So it did give us a move down in that. Oh my gosh, Chuck. It goes right there. Did give us a move down. Sorry, guys and gals. In that area, in the form of a wick down, but it obviously did not give all of that. Okay. However, I still believe this is still on the table, relevant. Again, I'm looking for the same thing from this fractal as well. We are sitting down here, and again, I can stretch this out and make it look perfect. I know people are going to bust my balls about it, but you get the point, right? It does indicate this move down here and a bounce off of this area, right? Generalized perspective. Remember those terms. Generalized perspective. Macro generalized perspective. Zoom out, right? TDLR or TLDR. Zoom out. Generalized, macro generalized perspective. So it does show, again, a macro move to the upside, a bounce off the macro descending support to the upside, okay? So I'm looking for that as well. So if we continue downside on this, this may be another form of invalidation for this one. So at that point, we would adjust and make adjustments that we would need and use those fractals that we have available to us to see. Hopefully by then we got something else put together for you, wink, wink, and for me. So that is the two bullish comparative fractals that we are in, or that I'm using right now within the fractal that we're currently in. Man, I'm stumbling over myself tonight because I'm rushing. I'm trying to get this out to y'all. It's like 20 after 7, quarter after 7. I'm trying to get it out real quick. And I know I'm running behind again, which I always seem to do in the evening. So I appreciate you guys watching. That's what I'm looking for from the macro comparative fractal perspective, with the two bullish and the one bearish. This is the overall. I showed you the overall macro comparative, like the mega macro, right? From the 7-year to the 7-month on AMC. Real quick, I'm going to throw this in here at the end. A little extra. Oh, not the one I wanted. This is the SPY, current SPY chart. I know there were a lot of talk going on about what President Biden talked about today. And I know there's a lot of talks about the word war being thrown around. The market may react negatively tomorrow to that. Keep that stuff in mind. Market conditions have an overall effect on everything regardless of algorithmic positioning, okay? They just do. It's just the way it is. Keep that in mind as to where we're at currently. What you see, and those of you who have been following me, here's the 08-09 overlay of the SPY put on the current SPY chart. I put this on the SPY chart, the current SPY chart, I believe it was Monday, December 6th. And it's been following this ever since. It's kind of crazy. So again, we've talked about this, people in the Discord, people in the live stream. We've talked about potentially this being moved either column right, all of the movements as one block being moved column right. And if that were to happen, that would indicate one more all-time high from here, meaning this move here would be here instead, right? So this would all get brought around, and then this would be the all-time high move here, which would obviously prolong this out quite a bit more. What I'm looking for with SPY is this overall level of support at right around 449. I believe it's like 448.90 or something like that. But call it 449. I'm looking for this, if it continues to the downside from 451.75 I'm looking for this to bounce here, and if it gives us a move to the upside and in the form of an all-time high, then I know this needs shifted over as a block, right, for comparative fractals and being able to use this 0809 overlay as it seems like it's working. If it does not do that and its movement is, oh, there's my thing. I'm like, where's my, if it does not do that, my bad, and it bounces and it doesn't go to all-time highs and it gets rejected underneath the 470 like it would in this movement here, obviously this is in its right place in my opinion at that point, and this is what I'd be looking to happen after that. If this breaks down through the 470, I've thought about this, was looking at it today, I believe this whole block movement would get columned to the right. And then this would be pretty much, this here would be this here. Okay? That's what I'm looking at with SPY right now. Just wanted to throw that in there. I know a bunch of people were asking about the SPY chart today, so figured I'd throw that in there at the end. Where am I at? 21 minutes. I tried under 20. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all being here, watching till the end, supporting me thoroughly, supporting my entire concept, thesis, theory, my work, everything that I do, the live streams, the videos, the liking, the subscribing, the commenting, the sharing of content, the shout outs, everything that y'all are doing to help me get this message out. I appreciate y'all greatly. Would appreciate it if you did that again. As always, like the video on your way out. If you're not subscribed, please smash that button as well. I live stream Monday through Friday, open to close. As always, if I don't see you all in tomorrow's live stream, and I will see you all in the next video that I put out, which will be tomorrow night, as always, daily update video. Thank you all. Have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will talk to you all first thing tomorrow morning for market open at 9 a.m. right here. Talk to you then. Later.